If you have ever been in an elevator where someone asked you what church you go to, and you told them that you are a Unitarian Universalist, you may be entitled to compensation. Sounds like a commercial, right? Maybe some of you have lived that commercial. Anybody? I used to work in sales. Some of you know that, but what you might not know is that part of my territory was the Southeast, Virginia, the Carolinas, Georgia. Anyway, I remember once upon a time being on a business trip in Charlotte, North Carolina. It's a beautiful town. We're standing at the bar waiting for our dinner table to be ready, and a client asked me, "So, what church do you go to?" Seriously, this is a thing in the South. How are you? What college do you go to? Did you go to? Where are your people from? What church do you go to? It's like some kind of background check. And apparently everyone goes to church, and everyone has opinions about every other church in town. So there I was, caught like a deer in headlights, like a fly in amber, like a coyote in a trap. And luckily, I was able to chew off my leg and escape. Maybe it's just me, but I used to find this really nerve-wracking. I guess I still do, which is why I'm perfectly happy to fake a serious illness when asked. But today, I'd like to take this opportunity to face my fears, or better still, have you face them for me. There is a reason for this, though. Aside from sadomasochism, which may be a sufficient reason all by itself, but no, I do have a different motivation for this, and it's really this. You regularly encounter people who would find this place interesting, people who might not yet have any awareness about who we are. You may encounter people who have been seeking and not finding, people who may even be saved. Yes, saved by coming home. And so in the spirit of stewardship season, in the hope of our longevity and sustainability, and in service to our grand design of total domination in the New World Order, I am inviting you to explore your elevator speech. Bum, bum, bum. We've been talking about this the last couple of weeks. It's something we've all, I think, faced to a certain degree or not, but today we're going to play. Now, you may have done these before in your past life or in some other part of your life. If you've ever been in sales or marketing or tried to pitch a product or an idea, you've probably been told to make something for it, something short, something memorable, and ideally something that you can just rattle off confidently in the time it takes to travel a floor or so in an elevator. Something you just keep in your pocket, ready for the next happy extrovert who tries to make small talk by asking you about your chosen faith. So instead of blurting out, "Not today, Satan," what would you say? What could you say that was clear, concise, maybe even helpful to our devious master plan? Do you have a statement that does not get you immediately carried off as a special guest to the nearest bonfire? Say that you want to avoid panic or bafflement or just sheer boredom. How would you explain our religion to someone who knows absolutely nothing about us? This is apparently harder than it sounds, and that's kind of worth acknowledging. So in that spirit, perhaps it is helpful that of the many things you might say, there are some things you probably should not say. Of those things, I want to say that "I belong to a cult" is near the top of the list. Yeah, don't say that. And just for the record, even if it sounds tempting, attempting to clarify that by saying that your fellow cultists routinely pray to the ghosts of Carl Sagan, Mary Oliver, and Martin Luther King Jr. doesn't really make it better. It's interesting, but it's not helpful. What would be helpful, though? I'm not really sure, so I'm going to start with something that just came to mind. Have you ever heard the explain your job badly joke? You ever seen those? Explain your job badly. Like a writer explaining their work by saying, I talk to my imaginary friends and then put them through unbelievable amounts of drama. Or a guitarist who says, I play with strings. Right? I asked some UU ministers to explain Unitarian Universalism badly. I got a few hundred responses. It's good fun. So here are some of their recommendations about what not to say. We're Protestant. I mean, like, really, really Protestant. Basically, we love protesting. It's kind of our whole thing. Yeah. And this. The main thing to understand is that we really hate the doctrine of Trinity. Let me give you a long history of every non-Trinitarian who has existed since the time of Jesus. Don't do that. Don't do that. And Unitarian Universalism is the prophethood and the priesthood of all non-believers. Basically, we're atheists. Don't do that. And we're like the whatever floats your boat kind of religion, or maybe a choose your own adventure group. That's not helpful. Or we are a social club for those who are excessively educated, recycle, shop at the co-op, actively practice being politically correct, listen to NPR, wear Birkenstocks, and drive an electric vehicle, or hope to soon. That was for you, Tracy. Or maybe we like rainbows and trees and coffee and Rachel Maddow. May be true, but it's not the point. And maybe we don't do hell. The Universalist side says God is too good to damn us, and the Unitarian side says we are too good to be damned. Historically, that was one of our big ones. But my personal favorite, our church is a place where you can believe whatever you want to believe. That actually is very common and also not helpful. There are a long list of things, however, that you probably shouldn't say, partly because they're not true. I mean, not everyone wears Birkenstocks. Some of you have clearly resisted, and that's fine. Your feet may hurt, and that's your choice. Anyway, with all that very helpful ministerial, yes, I want to remind you, those were ministers. So with all of that very helpful advice, we can begin maybe a slightly different way. Part of the challenge of any elevator speech that would really do us justice, so that would really kind of encompass who we are, all that we are. The problem is that we're not all one thing, are we? We're just not. I've said this before, that our church is the junk drawer of American religion. Folks that don't fit anywhere else tend to find their way here. And it's true, right? We come from a lot of places. Something like 90% of the membership of the average UU church comes from somewhere else. And that means the typical UU congregation is carrying around lots of different bits, different ways of understanding religion, different things that we find most important, different experiences with what church could or should be. We may find strength in diversity, but diversity does not lend itself to simple summarization. In our congregation, we have folks who believe in no God at all, and some who believe in at least one God. We have folks that used to be Catholic and find real comfort in grace, redemption, and the practice of prayer. We have folks that used to be Jewish or Lutheran or Presbyterian. More than a few of us used to be evangelical or somewhere on that fundamentalist spectrum. And yeah, some of us are even unchurched. Heaven to Betsy. right? Unchurched. Some of us never went to church before coming here. And all of that is why our denomination created a religious education curriculum specifically designed to help kids and adults understand and identify what could be a theology that fits them. Write your own credo. Create your own elevator speech. Seriously, this is a thing. Feel free to ask our DRE Becky, and you can just tell her that I totally threw her under the bus. That's fine. For the record, this is some quality stuff. For those of us that have not gotten a chance to do this work, there are 2 pointers that I'd kind of like to call your attention to kind of recall to you. One is our covenant, specifically that last line. We have associated ourselves together not as agreeing in opinion, not as having attained universal truth and belief or perfection in character, but as seekers after truth and goodness. That's really old. That predates the UUA 4th principle, the free and responsible search for truth and meaning, predates that by almost 150 years. That's amazing. We here at UUSG are not only thought leaders in our denomination, we're really old hats at this seeking thing. Being a member here means being on a journey towards truth and meaning, and one that is oriented in a very particular direction, toward goodness. Goodness may be cliche or passé, but the truth is we care about the direction we head. We have given ourselves a lodestar, something to pull us forward through history and across time. Onward, upward, forever. We call ourselves a church of many paths, and in that statement, there is a challenge to find your own path. This challenge calls back to that 4th principle, the free and responsible search. You are free to search for whatever makes your heart of hearts sing the songs of the spheres, but you are also required to be responsible. Because whatever journey you take, you don't do it alone. Ever heard of that spiritual but not religious thing? Yeah, we're not that. Because we believe that the religious part is at least as important as the spiritual part. Religion means that you're more than you're going to just take a walk in the woods, right? Religion means more than sitting meditation or learning tarot. Religion implies community, and community is where what's in your head comes into contact with the world. For example, we don't really hold with folks that put personal beliefs over the welfare and well-being of other people. We say that deeds are more important than creeds. If your deeds cause harm to others, then your creeds need adjusting. We encourage, we search, we challenge each other, free and responsible. And that is how we grow, with intention, in community, with respect and compassion and hope, toward love and peace and justice, toward goodness. So before I turn to some examples of elevator speeches, I want to lift up a nifty little book, 100 Questions That Non-Members Ask About Unitarian Universalism. I think we've got some copies in the common room if you haven't seen it. It's not perfect, but I kind of like it. One of the things I like about it is that it's kind of bold that 100 questions is really going to do it, right? No, we can do 1,000 questions, no problem. But this book has been through a whole bunch of printing, so you know it's been quite popular. It's got this really nice Pepto-Bismol cover too. Right, so that's special. Here are some of my answers to some of their questions. Question, are you a real church or a cult? Really, it's in there. So my answer, we are the people that perhaps celebrate questions to a fault. So by most scientific definitions, we are the exact opposite of a cult. We're the anti-cult. Maybe I should trademark that. Question, do you believe in God, the Bible, Jesus? Answer, I'm sure some of us do, yeah, but collectively we tend to offer more. Question, what is the point? That's kind of a loaded question, right? What is the point? Answer, the point is that we are concerned with life before death, more concerned with life before death than life after death. We devote our time and our energy to the only day we can actually accomplish anything, today. Question, anyone can believe anything? Answer, no, not quite. We are against oppression in all forms. If freedom, reason, pluralism, and acceptance are not your thing, a UU church is not going to be a comfortable place. And you get your Birkenstocks at the door. How come, the question is, how come I've never heard of your religion? And now we kind of come to the point, right? Because I would answer, answers are easier than questions. You can cue the rim shot at any point now. That was really the one. Thank you. Here's a better answer. We don't evangelize or proselytize. We build houses, we protest, we change laws, we celebrate difference, we sing and laugh and love along with our neighbors, even and especially when they are different from us. So if your search for truth and meaning needs more than a set of comfortable answers, if you're looking to be pushed, to be tested, to be stretched into a life worth living, then maybe this is the place you can call home. But here's my pointed answer. You haven't heard about us because you never asked me until now. Right? You've never asked. And better yet, I never answered. But here we are to the question, right? How do we respond when someone does ask? Run away! Just kidding. No, really. Let's talk about some responses, some examples of a possible elevator speech. For fun, and just to start us off, I first turned to answer this question. I literally first turned to artificial intelligence, the new ChatGPT algorithm. It's really fun. I was just curious what our future masters would have to say about us. Quote, Unitarian Universalism is a religious and philosophical movement that values freedom, reason, and compassion. It emerged from the liberal Christian tradition and embraces a wide diversity of beliefs and practices. UU congregations provide a space for individuals to come together to explore and celebrate life's big questions and to work together to make the world a better place. Whether you are seeking a supportive community, a place to connect with others who share your values, or simply a way to explore your spirituality, we invite you to join us on this journey. That's pretty good. Yeah, there was not a single exterminate in there. Exterminate. That's pretty good. Anyway, it's a brave new world, people. All right, so let's continue with a few more. These are curated and anonymized, and as far as I know, they were written by actual human beings, as far as I know. First, belief is many things, and so is unbelief. But for us, religion is what happens to us when we open our minds to the possibility of greater truth, our hearts to deeper compassion, and we are moved to use our hands in service to greater justice. That's pretty good. There's another one. We have no creed or dogma. UU is for those who are seeking truth from multiple sources. We challenge revelation and tradition, and we reject authoritarian proclamations. We are willing to question, we are willing to be questioned and as we seek our own understanding. I garbled that one, but that's okay. It sounds pretty good stuff. This one you may have heard. I think it's in your hymnal. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. Anybody ever heard that one before? Just nod. That's good. That's good, right? Yeah. That's a good one, right? Yeah, exactly. Good. Well done. Here's another one. Unitarian Universalists have said for centuries that there is room in our religion for all seekers. Skeptics and poets and scientists are welcome here, as are nonconformists and shy and uncertain folk. We believe that restlessness and doubts are a sign of grace, and that the love of truth is the holiest of gifts. I'll take that one. That's good. I like that one. Here's another one. If you hunger for spirituality without dogma, if you long to put yourself to work healing a suffering world, if you want a faith community that helps you deepen into life's questions, even when there are no final answers, Unitarian Universalism may be your religious home. Last one. We seek to create a community, one where you can be spiritual and religious. We draw wisdom from all the world's religious traditions, from the insights of modern science, and from our own direct experience. At our best, we freely choose to work together to build a better world for all people. We don't pretend to have all the answers, but we are on a journey together of living the questions. Living the questions. I really like that. And maybe that's a good place to leave it for now. My invitation to you then is this. At some point in the next week or a couple weeks, just pause. Take out a pen and a piece of paper and write down whatever it is that moves you. Whatever it is that's called to you, whatever it is that's spoken to you about this place. You can talk about your hunger, you can talk about your search, you can talk about your questions and how you chose to live them in community, and how that choice has changed you. I am really interested in what you come up with. My friends, this is the art of theology, speaking truth and hope into the vast and yawning silence of possibility. Your elevator speech becomes a little summary, a little invitation, one you can not only get behind, but that you can lift up like a lantern. Because the truth is, the casual question that some stranger just put to you at the coffee maker, in the cafeteria line, at the Geneva yard sale, or the cookie walk, or during Swedish days, or the Festival of the Vine, or even in some random elevator. That offhand question, what church do you go to? What do you mean, you? That question can hide a lot of hunger. Truth is, the world could be pretty dark. You know this. Just as you know, up here and in here, that there are a great many of our friends and neighbors right now alone. Alone, adrift, hurting, wandering, wondering where any light might yet come from. And with that, I will offer you this. There is nothing more beautiful to the hungry eye than a sea of little lights lifted into the sky. Tiny little beacons, proud, shy, assured, tentative, collected. A twinkling tapestry of light and hope. That is the tapestry of our faith. And you are now invited into the work of that creation, to the work of life, to grow and expand the shifting, shimmering, evolving invitation that Unitarian Universalism is today and tomorrow. My hope is pretty simple, that the next time someone puts the question to you, your response starts with something like this. You know, it's funny you should ask. Amen.
Visit us at uusg.org.